August 6th, Rotoball Patch Compound, standing at the stop sign patch. I have some exciting things and some bad things to show. Bad things are up here in the melon patch. I just found another one a few moments ago. Hold tight for the good and the bad. So there's our fruit eggs. You can see the leaves aren't looking too good around eggs. We'll get up there from the outside looking into the eggs. There's bacon. Bacon has her hut off, which is never a good sign. And she's rolled up on her side, which is also a pretty bad sign for a melon this size. Well, doing my checks, and look what I found. A leaky hole in the blossom end. What a bummer. This had healed up long ago, and I was fine with that, and I kept a good close eye, but seeing some puke coming out the hole in my melon made me a sad guy. And I was going to talk about how awesome and clean that stump is. I will remove this melon, and I will try to find another to set. I'm not going to get a great big melon off of her, but I'm going to get some practice at melon growing. And if I'm ever going to compete and hold a candle with some of those melon guys, I'm going to have more practice. Very happy with this plant. Not real happy with my fruit. The other fruit, eggs up here, has slowed to a crawl. But she's still a decent fruit as far as I can tell. Let's check that blossom in. Everything's scary at this point. But I lost my stump. And I'll walk you around and we'll get a good look at it. The stump's just absolute puked out on us. But the vine that eggs is still hooked to is actually pretty healthy. And if I can limp this gal along for another 40 days, she may actually see a scale. She's not going to be anything to get excited about, but getting the fruit to the scale, sometimes in its own, is a miracle. Oh, bacon. Why'd you have to do it to me, bacon? You were my hope. Carrie Groves goes on another year as the West Virginia state record. Carrie. All right, guys, I'm going to tend to these melons real quick, and we'll start back on the rest of the 150 patch. So I went ahead and rolled bacon out of the patch to try to get a final OTT on her. She's clocked in right at about 140 pounds, which is, it's not huge. I really feel like she could have made a stab in the 160s, 180 range, maybe with luck. Not a huge threat to the state record, but the best contender I've ever had on the vine. And I'm excited to give them a try next season. A different season, a melon season as opposed to a pumpkin season, because this has really been a pumpkin season thus far. All your melon growers know that grow both. All right, back up to that 150. Let's talk about something fun. Boy, I hope I don't find anything bad. Oh, we're in here hanging out with the 1526 Birchette, also named Frost Gleeok is what we named this one. It's a Gleeok off of Zelda. We've got a dragon theme on our pumpkins this year. This gal's 42 days old. She's probably 600 pounds, thereabouts, on the tape. Skin's still pretty smooth for a white pumpkin. I'm keeping it uncovered. Towards the shoulders, we're starting to see a little bit more zippering and some stretching. Stem's still nice and super healthy. Haven't put a fan or done anything with that yet. I did pull the fruit and popped a couple taps. So we're pretty maintained there. The grass is all but killed over from the clethodim, which is nice. I'm pleased with this fruit. I think that the percent heavy that she could potentially give us could make the difference. You just can't see it. It's such tight quarters in here, guys, but you get a general idea. Let's look at the field pumpkins. Give me a second to crawl out of this hole. So we've crawled out of the hole. Take a front end, looked at her. Actually blossom end, if you want to call it that. Still has that hump. It's lessened a little bit. It's a beautiful fruit. Leaves are right up on it. Just trying to let her have as little area as possible, that just giving her what she needs, and the rest of it's foliage. Foliage is pretty solid. A little bit of UV damage on some of these late term leaves, but otherwise everybody else looks good. I think she can give me another 50 days, 60 days. The foliage can. So, field pumpkins, goodness, they've taken off, haven't they? I actually have one set, and we're probably looking at about a 53-day-old fruit once we hit the scale. There she is, size-wise, I don't know, quite a bit smaller than a basketball, but she's got a beautiful stem, piece of mill fabric. So hopeful that we can actually get a fruit to the scale. Anything that's new to me, that's different, like melons or field pumpkins, yeah, it's kind of a learning curve, so I'm not going to get too excited. If I lose one, obviously I want to not lose them, but if I'm going to lose them, I'm going to learn something. And I've learned quite a bit from my melons this year. Field pumpkins, I don't know if I've learned anything. Jay's kind of my mentor, and he's not teaching me nothing. Get to it, Jay, I got to learn things. You can see the 150. She's not bad. She's not bad. Old Gleoc, do some work for us, gal. All right, to the main patch. Let's check the big girls. All right, let's enter in on the bottom half like we have been. Snake up here to the 1707.5 PDP McCaspers. This fruit is named Falcor, after the dragon from the Never-Ending Story. It's a luck dragon. I'm gonna need some luck. And so far, this fruit is delivering the luck. I do have some fans upon it, and that's because she's sapping like crazy. No other real concerns, just lots and lots of sap. The collar looks a lot worse through here than it actually is. Stem's good and healthy all around. Incredible airflow. Matter of fact, this is the most comfortable place to stand in the patch. Top of the fruit is above belt buckle now, which is nice. Down underneath, if we can get to it, kind of can. She's just about eating her blossom. Real happy with this fruit. We've got a good one, guys. Keep her going, Falcor. My luck dragon. All right, let's go down to our squash plant. Neglected, but not completely overlooked. She's starting to get some cucumber beetles. I'm bringing cucumber beetles into my patch. So we sprayed everybody down, but really gave squash plant a good dose. This fruit's also 45 days old, just like the Casper's fruit. Don't have a name on this one because I don't know if she's gonna make it, and don't want to get too attached. And we still have our hole. It's not gonna magically fill in. It's not as deep when I probe, and we don't go into the meat, so that's good. And visually, she's bigger and bigger and bigger. So she stays on for now, and hopefully until the scale. Our new squash, 23 days old, more nub problems. New day, new nub, same problems. But she's caught early, cleaned off early, and just a great shape on this fruit. We'll see how she shakes out. Might have two off of one plant. The tomatoes. I have 3 tomato plants. 2 of them have tomatoes set. This is probably my big gal. I don't think she'll be ready for the state fair, so I think my buddy Ethan Ramey's gonna be safe. This plant doesn't have anything set, has a couple hopefuls. We'll keep an eye on things. No megas or anything exciting. That fruit over there on this plant is a real gem dandy, but it doesn't really fit any way off, so I don't know what to do with this fruit. Now there's one above it, and that one will fit a way off, and it is a very nice fruit. So I may have to trim off a perfectly good tomato for one that's also really nice, but fits our way off better. The 1461 Rotoball ruby plant. There's some smog from Lord of the Rings series because it's golden in color. And you guys remember the smog guarded the gold underneath the mountain, the dwarf mountain. Well, she's got a little stem issue, nothing crazy. I cleaned it up today. We put a fan on it. We even take care of our porch pumpkins around here. I'll keep an eye on her the next few days, and it's just because she's tugging on that. And I freed up a few nodes. Look how straight that is, guys. It needs to be pushed back, but I'm not going to push it back. I'm just not going to do it. So she's going to have to get with the program, or just try not to pull herself free. The 1965.5 Rotoball on a scale. She is starting to hulk out. 52 days old today. I did tug her the other day. You can see my little apparatus there for tugging. She's tall, she's wide, she's not terribly long. If I had a longer fruit, this fruit would be dangerous, but she's still a really good fruit. The stem doesn't have any fan. There's no fan on this fruit. There's only a fan on the stump. The stem, still gorgeous, well maintained. Really helped pulling her forward 3 inches. Gained me a lot of ground. Couldn't be happier with her. Let's see. I need to do some weeding. I may or may not do weeding. I mean, I even have weeds in front of my scale head. So it's tough for me to get an accurate reading these days. I see a 1 something. Who knows? So I'll get in here and weed that out, and I'll have a better idea of what I actually have sitting on the scale. Plant health is great, guys. Couldn't be happier with my plant health. I still have 1 main going on the Casper's fruit. Crystal, which is a name of a dragon from one of my daughter's books, Wings of Fire, I think it is. So she named this one Crystal, by the way, which is pretty cool. I had to look it up. Seems like a good dragon, so at least she's not a big fan of bad dragons. 2 secondaries on this side, actually the main and the secondary, and 2 on this side. I would say 2 weeks tops. Middle of August, everything's going to be terminated. We may let the mains go, we may not let the mains go. That's always a question of what to do. I do have a little bit of open real estate, not much. She's filled in quite a bit. I have this little patch, and I can always snake that main right up through that fence line, which I may do. Guys, I really appreciate you watching this week. Sorry about the melons. Nobody likes to see breakfast items come off the menu. Old bacon and eggs not looking so hot. But our pumpkins, and that's what we're after, are still doing pretty doggone good. Tomatoes are doing all right. So to still have in this patch 5 fruit that could hit the scale, and 1 up in the stop sign patch, I mean it's 6 fruit total. That's great. And if I was to choose which ones I'd like to keep, obviously I have a couple that I'd like to see hit the finish line, but that's not always the case. Guys, thanks for watching. Questions, comments, make sure they're not about melons, because I don't know what's going on, obviously. Pumpkins, I might be able to help. Hit me up. As always, Doc out.